Today we are going to see how the fungi are classified. According to your syllabus, you have a recent classification, Alexopoulos and Mims, 1979. So we are going to see that. Before going to the exact classification, on the outline of the classification, these are the major criteria used for classification. So what is the classification based on? You need some characters. Based on that only classification is done. So what is the classification? You know, based on the morphological characters. வெளியில தெரியக்கூடிய பண்புகளை வைத்து they will classify the organism in different groups. Taxonomic hierarchy you would have studied. Last year in angiosperms, you would have studied how the plants or higher plants are classified according to various morphological characters. So here for classification is important for easy identification and easy understanding about the organism. So you mainly look on the morphological characters mostly. So that is the first character by which classification is performed. The second important is the anatomical characters, the uh, internal structure of the organism. So each organism will have slight differences in the major differences in the internal structure, like how we classify into monocotyledonate and dicotyledonate based on the anatomy, how the xylem vessels are orderly arranged in dicot, but whereas they are not, they are just haphazardly arranged in monocot. So by seeing the anatomical characters, we can classify them based on their similarities or differences. So that takes the second importance from when compared to morphology. Anatomy is the second in line. Third in line, most important, is the nutrition and physiology. So mode of nutrition is also variable in various fungi. Some of them show phagotrophic mode of nutrition, that is they engulf the food. Okay, they totally surround the food. The cell of the fungi surrounds the food, okay, and then engulfs it totally. It releases enzymes and then it digests. So some fungi are phagotrophic, some fungi, most of them are absorptive. They release the enzyme, break down the food, and then they absorb the food through their cell wall. So some fungi are parasitic. They live only inside a living host. Some fungi feed on dead and organic matter. They are saprophytic fungi. Okay. Some fungi are symbiotic lifestyle. Some are ectoparasites. Some are endoparasite. So depending on what is the mode of nutrition, most of them are aerobic organisms. Most of the fungi are aerobic organisms. That is, they totally depend on oxygen for their physiological metabolism. Some fungi can tolerate absence of oxygen. That is, they are fermentative organisms. Such organisms are called fermentative organisms. For example, yeasts, Saccharomyces cerevisiae. They can tolerate absence of oxygen. So in the absence of oxygen, they produce ethanol. So that is why we have the wine industry, the what to say, beverage, you call it beverage industry, whiskey, brandy, rum, the mari beverage industries, they make use of carbon dioxide producing, ethanol producing yeasts for manufacture of wine and all the alcoholic beverages. So such organisms are anaerobic organisms. You classify them as anaerobic organisms because they can grow in the absence of oxygen. So in nutrition and the physiology, what kind of temperature they require for growth, what kind of pH is required, okay, what kind of how much of nutrition, how much of oxygen is required. So based on that also classification is classification is performed. Then we have something which is recent. Low molecular weight compounds are produced by fungi. So many fungi produce secondary metabolites. Secondary metabolites meaning they are not actually useful to the fungi, fungal growth, but they are produced by fungi for some use. Okay, there are some low molecular weight compounds. They can be antibiotics, they can be some vitamins, they can be some compounds which are produced only by some classes of fungi. Okay, so we can find out what are the compounds. So some compounds will be present only in, so for example, penicillin is produced only by penicillium. Penicillin is not produced by aspergillus. So when you are seeing such compounds are being produced by this class of fungi, you can classify them based on the um, taxon they belong to. So depending on the kind of chemical compounds that are produced by a particular group of fungi, you can use it as a classifying criteria. So it is this branch of taxonomy is called chemotaxonomy. It is called chemotaxonomy. When you classify an organism based on the chemicals, secondary metabolites that are produced by the group of organisms, you call it chemotaxonomy. It is a recent way of classification. Apart from that, fungal cell wall has carbohydrates, and chiefly fungal cell wall is very unique because it has chitin as the major component. Some fungi, lower fungi, have even cellulose as the cell wall component. Higher fungi have chitin. Apart from this, they also have some carbohydrates like glucose, mannose, mannans. So based on the composition of the cell wall, fungi are categorized in different taxonomical hierarchy. And then lastly, we have the most recent molecular methods where you can study the composition of the DNA. So what is the amount of purines and the pyrimidines? What is the difference in the percentage of purines and pyrimidines? Like what is the percentage of what is it, adenine, guanine, and cytosine, thymine. So based on that, they will be classified. So these are the major criteria used in classification for of fungi mostly. So morphology, what do you mean by morphology? I have already told you. They will take basic shape of the fungal thallus, that is whether it is unicellular, whether it is multicellular, whether it is aseptate, whether it is septate, okay, whether it is pleomorphic, like for example the slime molds. We told them, I have already discussed when I was talking about the thallus of fungi. Slime molds, they do not have cell wall, so they are pleomorphic, they can take any shape. So based on the basic shape of fungal thallus, that's considered as an important morphological criteria. Other criteria is form, color, and size of the spores. So they take into account the kind of spore produced, what is the color of the spore, what is the shape of the spore. Okay, what is this is based on asexual spore as well as sexual spore. So asexual spore, they will also see the spore forming apparatus, asexual spore forming apparatus, whether it is a pycnidium, whether it is a sporodochium, okay, whether it is a cinemata. All these things I had discussed with you when I was handling the asexual modes of reproduction. They marry sexual spore structures, sexual apparatus, ascocarp, basidiocarp. Okay, so what is the kind of sexual spore? What is the shape of the spore? Whether it is an ascospore or whether it is a basidiospore, whether it is an endogenous spore, whether it is an exogenous spore. So all these conditions of sporulation are taken into consideration when we talk about the morphology as a criteria for classification. Anatomical characters, I told you already how the hyphae are arranged in the form of tissues. We were talking about some fungi form plectenchyma, tissue-like aggregations during sporulation. So they can have a pseudoparenchyma-like tissue, prosenchyma. So all these are hyphal modifications. We were discussing about hyphal modifications. Some fungi can produce rhizomorphs. Some fungi produce sclerotia. So arrangement of ascospores or basidiospores, how they are arranged. Okay. Then how the hypha what is the difference in hyphal structures? Okay, what is the difference in the septal pore? Some septal pores are simple pores, some are dolly pore, some are multi pore. Okay, so all these things I had discussed it when I was talking about the general characters. Then some to go into further advancement, they also look for certain compounds using some dyes, fluorescent dyes. So based on that also, they take it into account. The anatomical characters are taken into account for classifying the fungi. When you talk about nutrition and physiology, it's very important in yeast because they have very less morphological features. Yeast is only unicellular. They don't have any thallus structure. They don't have hypha or mycelium. Septate, non-septate, இந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம் criteria கிடையாது. Yeast is only a unicellular organism. So this kind of sexual, asexual reproduction la yeast la you will not find any kind of structural differences. So such class of organism, nutrition is very important because they you can talk you can see whether it is aerobic or anaerobic, or whether it has the fermentation is taking place. I mean, it grows during the fermentation period, whether it can utilize inorganic compounds, specific inorganic compounds. Okay, what kind of sugars it can metabolize, whether it can metabolize glucose, whether it can take up glucose, whether it can take up sucrose. Okay, so what kind of sugars it can take up. Okay, and more very important criteria is they have taken for classification is whether it is susceptible to antifungal compounds. There are many compounds, chemical compounds, which will kill the fungi. So when the fungi gets killed, it is called susceptible. Okay, it is called it is susceptible to the particular antifungal compound. So you have antibiotics to kill the bacteria. When you are having some bacterial infection, you take antibiotics. Similarly, if you have a fungal infection, you have to take an antifungal compound. So based on the susceptibility pattern of the fungus towards a particular antifungal compound, they take it as a criteria for classification. Then that I have already told you about the chemistry of low molecular weight compounds. The term chemotaxonomy is applied to utilization of low molecular weight compounds in classification. This is important when we are talking about lichen taxonomy, because lichen is a symbiotic organism. It is an organism in which fungus is a part of the partner. Okay, along with algae, you find a fungus also. So if you want to identify what fungus it is, you may have to see the type of chemical compounds produced by that particular lichen. So some lichen will, most of the lichens, they produce commercially important chemical compounds that have some use. Okay, so when you are studying such compounds, you can also attributed to the classification of the fungus which is present in the lichen. Okay, so you have different techniques. Do you have different equipments for measuring the amount of chemical compounds like gas chromatography, mass spectrometry, HPLC, high performance liquid chromatography, and NMR, nuclear magnetic resonance. Okay, all these are instruments which can measure the chemicals found in the fungal body. Then we were talking about the carbohydrates and cell wall composition, wherein chitin plays a major role. Lower fungi contain cellulose, and if you estimate the amount of chitin, you can classify the fungi based on the amount of chitin present in the fungus. So apart from that, from carbohydrates like glucose, mannose, galactose, rhamnose, xylose, all these carbohydrates, presence of all these carbohydrates also help us to classify the fungi into their respective taxons. Okay, so basically there are two main groups of fungi: true fungi and slime molds. Slime molds are actually, they do not have a cell wall. Okay, they only have a cell membrane. So they don't form hypha-like structure. Okay, and they are capable of ingesting the nutrients by phagocytosis. That is, they engulf the food. So they are similar to protozoa. They are similar to protozoa in the mode of nutrition, but they produce fruiting bodies like fungi. Fruiting bodies means the part of the vegetative body that bears the spores. Like this is a fruiting body for aspergillus. This is the fruiting body for penicillium. Okay, this is the fruiting body for mucor. You have mushrooms. You would have seen mushrooms. You would have seen agaricus. So that is what you are seeing with your naked eye. Is the fruiting body of agaricus. Okay, so it forms fruiting bodies like fungus. That is why they are placed under the kingdom Mycete. Okay, so they are chiefly under the class Myxomycetes. Myxomycetes. The other important category of fungi are the true fungi. You call it Eumycete. Okay, U means true. EU. U means true. So they have hyphal kind of vegetative structure. They hyphae forming a network. They form what is called mycelium. Okay, and they possess cell wall. All the cells have cell wall, which is mainly made of chitin and other carbohydrates, and they are absorptive in their nutrition. They absorb the food nutrition. So they excrete enzymes, they digest the food, which the enzymes digest the food which is found outside the fungi, and the fungi absorb the nutrients through their cell wall. So true fungi mode of nutrition is absorptive. Slime molds mode of nutrition is phagocytosis. And there are few major criteria by which they are differentiated. So in your syllabus, you have Alexiopolys and MIMS classification. So before going into the classification, the general rules are they follow a binomial nomenclature with a generic name and a specific name. And families have ACA, orders have ALs, and classes have Mycetes as the suffix. So division of mycota or fungi, they are called true molds. Okay, and lower fungi are called Phycomycetes. Higher fungi are called Eumycetes. Generally, this is the categorization. So in this case, we are following Alexiopolys and MIMS classification. He placed the whole fungi, including the slime molds, in the kingdom Mycete. This is the Mycete. Now, this Mycete are divided into three divisions. The kingdom Mycete was divided into three divisions: Gymnomycota, Mastigomycota, Amastigomycota. So each division is divided into subdivision, classes, subclasses, orders, and families. So outline, you don't have to go into subclasses and orders. We will just stop with the class. So this is the outline of Alexiopolys and MIMS classification. So you have division Gymnomycota, division Mastigomycota, division A Mastigomycota. So under division, Gymnomycota, you have two subdivisions. Under Mastigomycota, you have two subdivisions. Under A Mastigomycota, you have four subdivisions. All the higher fungi come under A Mastigomycota. You have the lower fungi coming under Mastigomycota, and you have the slime molds coming under Gymnomycota. Okay, so kingdom Mycete. This is the kingdom. What is the kingdom Mycete character? It is achlorophyllous, saprophytic or parasitic organism with chitinous cell wall and absorptive mode of nutrition. So this is the character for Mycete. So on the basis of presence or absence of cell wall, centriole is the organelle which is present in animals, which is important for cell division, mitotic cell division or meiotic cell division. Centriole is present in animal cells chiefly. Okay, so on the basis of presence or absence of cell wall, centriole, and flagellated cells, that is motile cells in the life cycle, they have Mycete has been divided into three divisions. Gymnomycota, wherein there is no cell wall. All the slime molds belong to that category, and they show phagotrophic mode of nutrition. Second division, Mastigomycota. Here you have the fungi produce flagellated cells. That means you have motile cells produced during the life cycle, and centriole is present during cell division. In the third division A, Mastigomycota, there is the absence of centriole. No centriole is present. Spindle pole bodies are there. Spindle fibers, you call it when, as you see in plant cells, you have spindle fibers, spindle pole bodies functioning during cell division. And flagellated cells are not produced. That means aplanospores are only produced in mastigomycota. Aplanos cells, aplanospore. I have already mentioned this. Non-motile spores are called aplanospores. They are produced during the, they are produced by the fungi belonging to Mastigomycota. So Gymnomycota, the first division, it has two subdivisions, Acrasiogymnomycotina, Plasmodiogymnomycotina, where in this division comprises of the slime molds, the fungi which do not have cell wall. So in this case, you have two subdivisions. This where Acrasiogymnomycotina soma means the somatic body, udalam. Okay, vegetative hypha, vegetative thallus, you call it. The soma is mixed amoeba. It is a amoeboid kind of thallus, followed by pseudoplasmodium. Finally, they turn into sporocarp. That is, the spore bearing body is called sporocarp. So it has a single class. Plasmodiogymnomycotina, again it is a mixed amoeba with foliose pseudopodia and true plasmodium. You just have to by heart the character. It has two classes, protosteliomycetes and myxomycetes. When you talk about the second division, Mastigomycota, you have two subdivisions, Haplomastigomycotina, Diplomastigomycotina. In Haplomastigomycotina, we have already seen in Mastigomycota, the criteria is motile, presence of motile spores, presence or absence of centrioles. So here in Haplomastigomycotina, zoospores are uniflagellate. That means you have on the zoospores, the spores are having only one flagella. So you have chytridiomycetes, hypochytridiomycetes, plasmodiophoromycetes. Okay, in chytridiomycetes, it is posteriorly uniflagellate. Okay, that is in the posterior portion of the thallus, uniflagellate. In hypochytridiomycetes, it is anteriorly placed uniflagellate. So it is present in the front part. Posterior means back portion of the cell. Anterior means front portion of the hypha or the cell. And Plasmodiophoromycetes is parasitic fungi with non-cellular multinucleate thallus. That means phenocytic hyphae. Phenocytic hyphae, Plasmodiophoromycetes. In Diplomastigomycotina, the second subdivision, you have biflagellated zoospores. Okay, so it has only one class, Oomycetes. Here the mycelium is phenocytic. Cell wall is made of glucans and cellulose, and in one order you have cell wall made up of chitin. So based on the spores, whether they are uniflagellate or biflagellate, you have two subdivisions under Mastigomycota, Haplomastigomycotina and Diplomastigomycotina. Then the third division is Amastigomycota. Okay, so it has four subdivisions, Zygomycotina, Ascomycotina, Basidiomycotina and Deuteromycotina. Zygomycotina, the fungi are saprophytic. You have even parasitic mode of nutrition. Okay, you have predatory fungi. Predatory means those which prey on nematodes, nematode trapping fungi. I had told you about hyphal traps when I was discussing about the general characters. Hyphal traps which trap the nematode. Okay, and you have the mycelium is xenocytic. Okay, asexual reproduction by sporangiospores, that is endogenous spores, and sexual reproduction by gametangial copulation. This also I had discussed in the previous class. So Zygomycotina has all these characters. It has two classes, Zygomycetes and Trichomycetes. Zygomycetes are terrestrial saprophyte. Okay, and they can also be parasite on plants and mammals. Trichomycetes are commensals or ectoparasites on arthropods, insects. They are ectoparasites on insects. The second subdivision, Ascomycotina, the fungi are can be saprobic, it can be symbiotic, it can be parasitic. Okay, and they undergo sexual reproduction. The sexual spores are called meiospores. They are ascospores which are formed inside the ascus that I was discussing in the last class. Similarly, Basidiomycotina is the third subdivision. Here also you see saprobic, parasitic, symbiotic. Meiospores are basidiospores. That is, sexual spores are called basidiospores, which are born exogenously. They are born exogenously on the basidium. Exogenous spores. Here in Deuteromycotina, I had discussed as imperfect fungi, where the sexual stage has not been yet discovered. The fungi belonging to this subdivision, they reproduce only through asexual means. They are mostly saprophytic. They can be parasitic. They are parasitic. Most of the plant pathogens belong to Deuteromycotina. So they can lead a saprophytic life, parasitic, predatory, symbiotic. Here the the fungi belonging to this subdivision, they do not show any sexual reproduction. Okay, so this I have just pictorially depicted Gymnomycota, phagotropic organisms. They are called slime molds. This is the sporocarp. This is the sporocarp. The spore producing apparatus is called the sporocarp. And Acrasio gymnomycota, it has a jelly like consistency. It doesn't have a definite shape. It can change its shape because it doesn't have cell wall. The organisms, the fungi belonging to this division do not have cell wall, so they can change the shape to uh, any type. So this is Acrasiomycetes. This is Plasmodiogymnomycotina. Okay. Mastigomycota, we have, depending on the criteria of uniflagellate or biflagellate. This is Chytridiomycetes. This is Hypocritidiomycetes. This is posterior flagella. See here. In the posterior end, uniflagellated in the anterior end. Hypochytridiomycetes. Plasmodiophoromycetes, the spores have two flagella, biflagellated spores. One is whiplash and one is tinsel. Diplomastigomycotina is a subdivision we have seen. This is actually sexual reproduction is eugamous. Okay, and here you can see difference in the sex organ. So female sex apparatus is larger, the male sex reproductive organ is smaller. So there is morphological difference between the sexual organs, sexual reproductive organs of the male and the female. Okay, that is the major criteria of this second subdivision under Mastigomycota. When you come to Mastigomycota, Zygomycota, these are the fungi, pictorial representation of the fungi belonging to Zygomycetes. They produce endogenous spores, sporangiospores, as I told you before. Okay, and this is the Trichomycetes. Okay, this they actually, tricho means hair. The fungi have hypha which resemble the hair, so it is called Trichomycetes. Now Ascomycotina, you have the septate mycelium. They produce ascospores in ascus. So these are the bags or the sac. They are called sac fungi. They have bag-like structures into which 8 ascospores are produced. Sexual spores are ascospores. Okay, so this is why they are placed under Ascomycotina. Basidiomycotina, again septate mycelium, they are all higher fungi. And then you have the basidium, you can see exogenously produced spores. Okay, basidiospores, which are the sexual spores of Basidiomycetes. And Deuteromycetes, where this sexual stage is not seen, Only the asexual spores are produced. These are the asexual spores, the diagram of a Tetromycota. So where the sexual stage is not known. Okay, so this is the general characters of each class. You can just go through it. It is all the repetition of what I have already told you. I will put it in the classroom. You can just go through it. Now you can join again, girls.